So it seems like Kson is still on the case of VShojo, and obviously it's great to see, as it seems like it's giving us a lot more information behind what VShojo have been doing and how terrible of a company they have been for the past couple of years, and also, right now, as they're trying to file for bankruptcy and stuff, she's been keeping us up to date with what is actually going on. And it seems like she has dropped another video very, very recently talking about the VShojo situation. As you can see here, the kind of thumbnail of her crying, and it's the VShojo. Obviously, it's all in Japanese. Now, obviously, one of the major drawbacks of these videos is that we don't exactly know what she's saying, but obviously I do have a transcript here, which is translated, so we do know what she is saying, but obviously a lot of English-speaking kind of people would not really understand exactly what the hell is going on, because again, a lot of it is in Japanese. So again, yeah, but there's been a lot of like nice people out there in the community that have been English subtitling it and things to kind of give people more of an understanding of what is actually going on. But yeah, essentially what Kson talks about in this video is a lot of artists that have been working for VShojo events and things, and she says that the artists were not actually paid for the illustrations for VShojo events, and that Kson actually ended up paying the artists themselves and will use illustrations for her own merchandise. So obviously great from Kson there, that she is obviously utilizing these artists and giving them the pay that they do deserve. But obviously it's terrible from VShojo that obviously we knew they weren't paying their talents, we knew that they weren't paying a lot of different things, right? But also, independent artists and things like that who have been working with them to create the branding and stuff that goes on to VShojo, they also have not been paid, which I think is pretty ridiculous. And obviously, it kind of exposes how even more scummy VShojo has been behind the scenes. And again, I don't know if this is a recent thing and they've refused to pay them while they went bankrupt, or whether they've refused to pay them for a long time now, but it is pretty crazy that, obviously they have been pretty silent about that. Again, usually a lot of artists are quite vocal about when they, are unpaid and things like that. So again, I am very surprised that they haven't spoken out about it, sooner. But again, it is very, very interesting. And obviously, as Kson says, she will be using it for her own merchandise and her own kind of stuff, which I think is great. And obviously, hopefully, Kson can work with them in the future to give them some future jobs. And now, obviously, I don't know whether these artists are Japan-based or whether they are all across the globe. But again, I do think it is pretty interesting that this is going on. She also talks about some other stuff as well, including overseas work, which was apparently unpaid. So obviously, Kson was apparently not paid for several overseas jobs, obviously having to fly to different places, despite a contract stating that VShojo would not take a cut from overseas earnings. VShojo is now demanding a share of the recent unpaid job to cover their own debts. So yeah, it seems like they are still going on to this day, even with the bankruptcy. We knew that obviously they have been begging a lot of kind of ex-VTubers, sorry, that were a part, well, not ex-VShojo members. That's what I should say. Ex-VShojo members for money to essentially file for bankruptcy and help them with their debts, right? Because again, obviously that has been a big issue, and over in California, you have to pay to file for bankruptcy, which is very, very weird to me. But obviously, yeah, it seems like they are desperately trying to get the money back any way they can, even if it is stuff like holding on to merch, which they've been doing. But yeah, obviously, it seems like they're now obviously talking to Kson and trying to get her to pay for some events and pay a recent share of money from a overseas event, which was already stated in her contract that she did not need to pay, which is crazy. And obviously, I'm glad that she has brought this up, because again, it shows you how manipulative this company is still trying to be, even after being plainly exposed. It was one thing, all of this stuff coming out, and then obviously, Gun Run and people saying like, oh, we messed up big time. But it's not like, hey, we messed up big time, we're not going to do it again, and we're just going to try to dissolve the company as peacefully as possible. No, it's like, hey, we messed up big time, and now we're just going to try to screw over the VTubers even more and try to manipulate them even more, because again, that's just what we do. And yeah, that's essentially it, and that's what it seems like to me. It seems like they haven't changed their ways at all. They haven't, kind of toned things down and went, okay, we'll just try to find the money any way we can and use other options other than obviously pressuring their ex-talent to give them money for events that they don't need to give the money for. And obviously, Kson being the person that she is, I don't know why they even went to Kson in the first place, because as you know, she's been very against a lot of the stuff that has been going on. She's been very vocal against VShojo. Obviously, she's going to say no. Obviously, she's going to be like, hey, yeah, no, I'm not going to pay that to you. again, you know, it was stated in the contract that they would not take a cut from overseas earnings. And obviously as well, she wasn't paid for a lot of overseas earnings as well. You know, she was kind of cut off from pay for some overseas earnings. And obviously she talks about there was a lot of different like frequent overseas travels, which caused her cat, which I'm guessing is this cat here behind her, to suffer. Obviously, because again, their owner is away for a very long time, and obviously that can suck. And she says that you know, she feels like the travel was for nothing, making their cat an additional victim, which I think, yeah, obviously, I mean, to be fair, she's not exactly wrong there. I feel like, you know, the cat also has struggled due to the fact that VShojo have been making her do a lot of overseas work, which obviously she didn't get paid for, which was obviously a kind of pointless trip altogether. You know, I can understand how pointless it feels to kind of go on a big trip somewhere overseas to something that you think you're going to get paid for and everything like that. And obviously VShojo just don't do that, which I think is crazy. And yeah, obviously a lot of people are very mad about what is going on at the moment. And obviously, yeah, it highlights what, you know, VShojo are like behind the scenes and the dishonesty of them. Now, obviously, a lot of the Japanese audience have been speaking out about this, saying the more I hear about it, the more the worse it gets. It's disrespectful. Yet when it comes to money, they insist on their rights. It's ridiculous. They said it's infuriating because his agency, her agency was taking a cut of her fees. Her clients might have thought that Kson was an expensive talent. So yeah, obviously a lot of people are pretty outraged by this. And obviously they're completely right here. This person has actually hit the nail on the head here, saying, you know, it's disrespectful, but whenever it comes to money that's supposed to go into VShojo, they insist on their rights. You know, they do like the least professional thing towards the ex-talent, and then as soon as it's about their own money, they're like, oh, hey, wait, can't we sort this professionally? Like, what the hell? And it's like, what? Wait, no, why are we doing this? Like, it's so weird why they would even do that in the first place. Obviously, people saying, I'm sure there are clients who will be furious when they find out how much the talent is being charged. There's a lot of middleman cutting. I feel like there are quite a few events and PR projects where they think, for that price, we could have bought them in twice. So yeah, obviously people talk about that. So they have the right to use it in the place. According to the original contract, 100% goes to the talent. So why does it have to be handed over to the agency? They're really making a fool of me. So obviously, yeah, it seems like a lot of people are pretty frustrated with the fact that VShojo have been taking you know, money that they haven't even asked for in the first place with their contracts. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, you know. And obviously, I'm glad that Kson continues to make these videos, as she's made a lot of these videos over on her account, kind of talking about the updates of situations. For example, like the constant wasting of money whenever it comes to kind of suitcases and things. They bought like staff suitcases, which just highlights the issue that obviously Kson has whenever it comes to you know, the mismanagement of money of VShojo, because they're more focused on buying kind of different stuff like, you know, suitcases for their staff, but not actually doing anything else, which I think is pretty crazy. And you know, I don't know, it's one of these things where, again, VShojo just keep getting exposed for even more horrible stuff behind the scenes. Also, you know, there was another comment from ironmouse, which I saw on stream. Again, I don't have the clip for it because, again, it was in a big long VOD which I was watching. I tend to just stick on like a Sea Dog VOD or something whenever I'm doing something. And obviously they were playing a game, and she talks about the fact, like very briefly, literally for like 5-10 seconds, she essentially says that, oh, they owe me more. So again, obviously it seems like ironmouse is finding out that there is more that is being owed, obviously behind the scenes. So again, obviously we might see some more information coming out about that very soon, because obviously, you know, lawyers, creators and everything is trying to find out exactly what is going on and the developments of the situation at the moment, which I think, yeah, obviously is pretty crazy. And yeah, I mean, it is an interesting one at the moment. But yeah, that's about all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go over to GameStop, use my code KASA, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. I definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.